What's going on, you gamers? Today we're back with some more Outriders Worldslayer. What I'm going to be covering today is some weapon mods that you may well want to know about. There's going to be some changes soon, so these ones may well help you out to put out some damage. If that sounds good to you, then stay tuned. Let's come up next. Welcome back, you gamers. Today we're taking a little look at some weapon mods that really can help you out, and with the adjustments that's going to be coming soon, one of which we know is definitely going to be one of the best mods that you can get for your anomaly, or at least the very best mod by a mile, and that's Mage's Rage. Unless you don't know, this one has been double dipping, working off of itself, overworking itself. It's just been doing a lot more than it actually should have. The mod in question, like I said, this one right here, Mage's Rage, critical shots grant a 10% anomaly power bonus for 15 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. 40% is absolutely massive, but apparently, according to the forum, this one has definitely been doing a lot more than it should do, overclocking itself, working off of itself, and providing a massive boost to your anomaly that wasn't intended. By the end of this week, I believe, or maybe a little bit after that, depending on when they get to things, there's going to be some changes to the Worldslayer. Some good, some probably not so good. If you're thinking of things as nerfs, this one will definitely be adjusted, and it will mean your damage will be lower if you've been using it all the time. So with that being said, what are some good mods that you should be using to either replace it or work alongside it in order to get the most out of your builds? I'll probably be basing this a little bit off if you're using an anomaly build, but I'll put some things out there that can help you even if you just want to get some damage about yourself. So first things first, which is a bit of a pun because that's what the mod is actually called. So first things first, this weapon mod is a little bit different to quite a few of them out there, and it actually works out a lot better than I first thought. The first shot after every reload hits with armor piercing increased by 50%. I believe this one's gone up quite a bit from when the game was originally released. I believe it was probably about 30% give or take, and it's got a 3-second cooldown. However, this one works amazing in anomaly builds, depending on what you've got going on in your skill tree and such. As you can see over here, I've got 612k as standard, but if we do what it says on the tin with this first things first mod, even though it's just a tier 1, it still works out amazing. So we're gonna shoot off into the distance. You don't even need to worry about hitting enemies, it's just taking the shots. If we go over to here, 612. However, if I reload, I now have 693k, which is actually quite a big increase. It can go higher, it can go lower, depending on what you've got going on in your skill tree, like I said. Also, another thing that I hadn't realised until I started doing this video, I thought it was on a 3-second cooldown, meaning it's going to wear off after 3 seconds, but I actually think that means that every time you're reloading, that's when you're going to get after 3 seconds, but it stays on permanently until you take the next shot. So, take a shot, and it will completely be wiped. If I'm not taking shots, I can take full advantage of that anomaly gain and just do a lot of skills in between my kind of rotation of shots and such. Depending on how your skill tree is, if you've got an absolute abundance of armor pierce and certain mods, this can work absolutely amazing. One thing I would say it works hand in hand with, if I can remember where it is, this one just here, no resistance against the fortified. Increases your resistance piercing by 100% of your armor piercing value. Another one that works well, again, kind of goes hand in hand with that, increase your anomaly power by 50% of your resistance piercing with Unstoppable Force. So Unstoppable Force is good. This one's kind of a must-have, I would say, if you're going to be using that mod. The no resistance against the fortified, but a lot of times in your anomaly builds you'll have them on a standard anyway. So first things first is definitely one you might want to look out for. Now another one that I've been fitting into a lot of my builds recently has been Detronome. This is an absolute beast. If you have a little look here, at level 55 it doesn't look anything amazing. When 2 of your equipped skills are on cooldown, receive a 75k power bonus and 68k anomaly power because the level of the weapon's so low. That's not bad for the actual level of that gun. If I find a nice one, as you can see now, because of the level of this weapon, it's at 314,872 and 284,000 for the anomaly power. This is massive, absolutely massive. To put that in perspective, when you go to a piece of armour, so remember 284,000 will be this one right here, Arms Anomaly. At level 70, this is 407,000 and is pretty much the biggest thing you're always going to want to chuck on your armour because of the increase it gives you to your anomaly power. So as you can see just over here, when I remember where it is, even though not quite as big as that, it is very much contending. And when you put it on your build, it's absolutely massive. So we're going to jump from 607. Bear in mind, like I said, I don't have much going on. I've taken all the points out and such. But we're going to jump all the way up to here, 1.1 million, just through putting that on. Once you've got other stuff going on in your build, you can get even higher. It's a massive thing to put on as long as you can make it work. Deathronome does not work in every build. It's great in hybrids, it's great in, I would say, builds that have multiple uses of a skill. So for example, if I was going to be using a Pyromancer and I was going to be using the Heat Seeker set, if I could make it so that I had 2 thermal bombs and I had that phaser beam going on, I could quite easily make it so that I keep one of my thermal bombs up constant, then I could use my Ash Blast, and then I could use my phaser beam, making sure I use the whole of this anomaly power in that rotation. Next up, and we're going to go with Omen, hands down one of the best ones you can have. Straight off, they shouldn't change this. It has that 3-second window. For me, this makes this absolutely perfect, and it takes a bit of a while to kind of get used to it. Shots launch a cover piercing anomaly projectile that inflicts bleed, which is one massive bonus. Deals a set amount of damage, as you saw before, depends on your kind of level of your weapon. At level 70 or 75, it's actually quite a large bit of damage. And it applies a status that increases damage received by 10% for 3 seconds. It's got a 4-second cooldown, but it's absolutely amazing. You've got to time your shots and time your skill usage straight after that in order to get the most from this. But don't forget, because you've got that bleed as well, you can also take advantage of any mods or anything that's going to give you that extra damage to bleeding. So this is one of the best mods you can have on any build, but perfect in those anomaly builds as long as you can make sure you capture that 3-second window. Jumping over to another one is Fortress. You have almost 100% definitely heard of this if you've been playing Outriders. From base game to now, it's an amazing mod to have. It's had its adjustments over the year, but even now it's still really nice. Shots increase your current armour and resistance by 5%, stacks up to 3 times, at maximum stacks the buff is doubled, and additionally grants 20% damage increase for 10 seconds. 0.2 seconds cooldown means it's constantly up as long as you're shooting. This gives a big old damage increase, and gives you a nice little chunk of survivability with that armour and resistance. So if you're not running this because you've been running Mage's Rage, but you're a bit squishy, this might be one you want to look at once it's changed. Now this next one is going to be a little bit out there. It doesn't actually refer just to the anomaly build, you can use this in anything, but at a pinch this one could be pretty amazing in a lot of builds now. And the reason for that is this right here, Anomaly Mutation. Shots on enemies afflicted by any status condition multiplicates and mutates into a different one. And let me tell you why this one's so good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this, I don't hear anything about this. However, this one will give you vulnerable, especially if you bop it straight on something like I've got here. So I'm going to chuck it on this and just show you what I'm talking about. Now this build, like I said, isn't even made, so hopefully I don't muck around too much, but just look at what's on that fella. Everything. Every single thing. I'm going to die, like I said, this ain't made. But we've put every single debuff on that fella, meaning that you can now use every single kind of thing that's going to buff your damage. So you'll be getting that extra damage from the vulnerable, you'll be getting all the other statuses that you've applied to them. They apply very fast, as you saw. It's going to give you so much kind of CC, it's unbelievable, and like I said, you can now do whatever the heck you want. If you found an Ashen boost, it's going to be ashed, you've got your 12%. If you want toxic, guess what, another 16%. Now that we have a lot more mod slots available, especially if you're lucky and you get a roll here that's really nice, you may well be able to use that, whereas before, because you only had the 2, it just wasn't really viable in any builds. Now Anomaly Mutation becomes absolutely amazing in the right setups and is a lot of fun to play with, especially if you're able to chain everything together, all of those statuses going on and some nice damage boosts going on in your build. Like I said, you quite easily get these rolled on purple gear, you quite easily get these rolled on your legendaries. It may well be you'll be able to get a nice little setup from this without having to muck around with your gear so much. And last but definitely not least, Mage's Rage. Don't be put off. I think it will have a big old nerf, if you can call it a nerf when it's a bit broken at the moment. We'll call it an adjustment, but a downwards one. But it should still be probably the most powerful out of all the anomaly mods. The reason I'm saying that, as you saw earlier, Arms Anomaly, because it revolves around actually activating it for something and you needing crit with it, it's actually one of the harder ones to pull off in a lot of situations. So they've rewarded you with the most damage on that Arms Anomaly and a few of the other mods and such, so I'd imagine this is going to be very similar and it should still be the best in slot for your Anomaly. However, it just won't be as broken as it is now, doing quite as much damage. Probably it's going to stick with what the text says, so 40% Anomaly power bonus. I think they may even adjust the amount of seconds because that's quite high, but hopefully they stick it with that. They stop it from being broken and giving you extra, and then it stays at that, which is still going to be a nice little bonus to your anomaly power. If they nerf it too much, anyone who's been really playing with those god tier rolls that's taken them a week, a month to get, is going to be very disappointed and they may be put off. So fingers crossed, Mage's Rage isn't kind of adjusted too much and it's still the best one for your anomaly builds. That way you won't have to worry too much if you've got it rolled into a perfect god roll weapon. Hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and kills out. Let me know in the comments if there's any that you think I've missed and if there's anything that you're worried about. But like I said, some of the adjustments they're making or some of the changes should be great, especially the ones where you can lock your weapons and your gear and such. It means no more dismantling. We're just hoping further down the line they do look at some of that stash, they do look at some other well needed things, such as loadouts, which they still haven't talked about. But yeah, going off on a rant, hopefully that's helped. I'll be bringing out more gaming content as always, for all things gaming, for all things Xbox. Take care. I'll see you on the next day.